Hi, everybody. This is 1,124 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And I'm not kidding about the tip of the iceberg. I'm not kidding about or over exaggerating that we have breaking news every day because it's happening. Information is pouring out right now. I don't know if it's because of the politics of the times. I don't know, I'm hoping that people are getting really, really sick and tired of the unjust um, way and the criminal way our institutions are conducting themselves, and that they're starting to feel it in their own lives, or they see it in loved ones' lives or their neighbors' lives, and they're getting sick and tired of it. And that's why we're getting breaking news every day. People are starting to make life, as far as getting some information, a little bit easier for us. And we're getting some help with writing and research. And so we really, really appreciate it, all the help that we can get. Let's go on to get justice for Richard. And also, this is has a multiple cases. Our witness has been tampered with. That's going against his rights. Our house was illegally searched by the Fugitive Apprehension Unit. They still haven't produced a warrant or probable cause affidavit. That is also a case. And then, of course, our son's case. So, what I'm saying is that um, when criminality is allowed to go wild by these rogue authorities and figures and so called leaders, then it spreads. It spreads. And it is much more dangerous than, um, let's just say, um, any kind of virus or whatever. The rogue authorities allowing the criminality to get away with their crimes, that is far more dangerous. And you see that everywhere. And, but, the times are changing. Let me plug this in. I see I'm running a little bit low. But times are changing. And it looks like with Chagra being arrested, that uh, you know there are some people in the institutions, in the agencies, that want to do the right thing, and we're hoping that one of those people will be Major General James Eisenhower, because with our breaking news, and let me go on Facebook and see if I'm on. Sometimes they always have this clickbait. I have to be really careful. Um, okay, so we're hoping that Major General Eisenhower would be, one of those good guys to release, um, right, to release the unfounded, unjust ban on our key witness. And this goes to, well, let me just tell you what's going on. Um, we have Thomas Kane. Thomas Kane's letter. Um, wow. That was a real eye opener that the Fort Bliss Command is operating outside of the law. Okay? That our key witness was banned without an investigation, without him being notified, without him being able to, um, respond in self defense, without a packet. Okay, a packet would have all of that information in there. But the thing is that Thomas Kane admitted to that, but he didn't do his due diligence. Um, because he needed to vet Leilani Hart. Okay, he needed to vet Leilani Hart, and if Team Find Richard Halliday can find all of these um, cases, right? These cases, then why can't he, with his funding, with his staff, with his access to files and connections and everything, why can't he vet properly? Because we're talking about protecting our most valuable assets, our volunteer sons and daughters. And we have Chagra out of control selling LSD, cocaine. What else was in that? Fentanyl. We have him with piles of loot in his home, and I'm sure he has other places, right? I'm sure. And he's selling it to soldiers on Fort Bliss. Okay. We know that the marketplace for illegal drugs is right there in the barracks. We know that. I've gotten, you know, what are we running? Some kind of animal farm on there? What was Thomas Kane running? See, a lot of questions come up here when the barracks are, and of course NCOs, of course the command, but the security of Fort Bliss was in the hands of Thomas Kane. Okay? The security of Fort Bliss was in the hands of Thomas Kane. And the barracks were a place of rapes, a marketplace for illegal drugs, flush with weapons. And we have it now confirmed. Remember when Command Sergeant Major Jerry Jakovitz, who now works for the VA there, I can't believe it, said to us that they even brought girls in during the COVID lockdown. During the COVID lockdown, they brought in girls. And that we were like, what? Okay, so then we started asking about it. Were girls brought in during the COVID lockdown? And we have it on record. Not only, yes, 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 yes. Not only, oh yeah, we saw them, the gate was closed. The gate was closed down. The Welcome Center was closed down. And I think that's what I mean by that. The Welcome Center was closed down. The girls there at the Buffalo Soldiers Gate would be waiting in the parking lot, and cars would be coming by picking them up to deliver them to the barracks so that they could have their frat parties every day. Frat parties every day. That's what I was told. Remember the soldier that was at Fort Bliss for 2 years? And then he got out, and then he went to war down in Ukraine, and then he defected to Russia, and he was interviewed by Russia Today. And in that interview, he said, oh, yeah, my time at Fort Bliss, I was drunk the whole time. You know, this that was on video, and I put it up there. To prove to you what I've been hearing just talking with people. People talking to me saying it's like a frat party every day. And Jerry Jakovitz, he said, who is we? And of course, at that time, his right hand man, or he was the right hand man for Major General Clem Coward, right? But we have confirmation that it included Thomas Kane, because we have confirmed that Thomas Kane gave those girls passes to come on during the COVID lockdown onto Fort Bliss. Now, what does that mean? You know, because everyone knows that whole lockdown, I don't agree with it. The whole virus thing, I don't agree with it. I don't believe in it. I think it's a psyops, a psyops, and it's always on TV. It's, they're doing the psyops on us all the time to get us afraid to go and buy pharmaceuticals or get the um, uh, what do you call it, the Cobra Strike or whatever, you know. And I am not. My husband is a retired physician assistant. I'm not anti-medicine, but I just think that it has gotten corrupted. It's gotten out of hand. They have lied to us. They are manipulating us, and so even though I feel that way, the laws, that what this shows about Thomas Kane and Jerry Jakovitz and Major General Clem Coward bringing these girls in, these young girls in, to these barracks that are marketplaces for illegal drugs, flush with weapons, places of rapes, places of sexual harassment, PTSD, suicides, uncontrollable suicides, um, and you know, just violence. Violence is there, okay? And they're bringing those girls in for that, but they're bringing them under. They're bringing them snubbing, working outside of the law because whether we liked it or not, um, we had to respect the law. And that's what people were doing. They were respecting the law. I had to go to the meetings with my shield on. I respected the law, even though I did not agree with it. And I felt like it was crimes against humanity and it aggravated me. But I did not operate outside of the law. Okay? I did not do that. And I did not do that with the lives of others. Okay? And what happened there is a display of what Thomas Kane said, that the command was working outside of the law. That they, even though they were clicking heels together, destroying soldiers' lives, service members' lives, for not lockstepping to everything. But let's bring in the girls, right? Let's bring in the girls, and we'll look the other way because we don't want to hurt our bottom line. Because what were they? There had to be something in for them. I don't know. I don't know. It's just my thought, because they're absolutely are out of control in harming our service members and harming a lot of young girls coming in, putting them at risk, but also a display of what do you call that legally when you just snub your nose at the law, that you don't feel like you have to obey it, that you can work outside of it and nothing happens to you, right? Nothing happens to you. It'll come to me what that means, when you're, contempt. It's a contempt of law, a contempt for, you know, if the generals did not think that these girls were at risk for getting sick or spreading whatever sickness into our service members during that time, and they wanted them to come in to have their frat parties to risk being raped and sexually assaulted and whatever, bringing in drugs or taking drugs that were in the barracks or the alcohol or whatever, which I think is, what are we running? What are we running here? Is it a military? Is it a disciplined military? Um, it doesn't look that way. And that's why this is so important, because it's evidence, it's confirmation that it is not that way, that it is a contempt for the law and they are working outside of the law. Okay. So that was breaking news today with that. And I hope that Major General Eisenhower is squaring away the barracks, squaring away. This arrest of Chagra is a good sign, is a very good sign. So because our young volunteer sons and daughters, they are exactly that. They're young and they need mentors. And if this world did not have anything to offer and it was just uh, a nothing world, frat parties, whatever, the will to death or whatever, okay. But that's not the truth. The truth is, this world has so much to offer, so much to learn, so much to contribute to, so much good to do, and so much to learn. And why these generals don't understand that, and why they're trying to form a culture of um, a path to suicide and a path to depression, I don't know. I don't know. Because that doesn't seem to be a good method to create a vibrant, aspiring, fighting force that's proud of their country. They seem to be doing quite the opposite to destroy us. And that's why I say that they're working for foreign and domestic enemies, because they're not working for us. It's very clear. There's all kinds of evidence. And they're working outside of the law. So that means they have a contempt of the United States, the laws of the United States. And we know that they're that. Okay, so with that, um, the broadcast kind of went out. Okay, there we are. We're back. So with that, we have more breaking news. Um, and when you think of why isn't the media um, trying to restrain the bad decisions, right? Isn't that what the media is supposed to do? They're supposed to be the cheerleaders of good and right and justice. They're supposed to be doing that. And they're supposed to be like an oversight of our society and our agencies and our institutions. And that's not what El Paso Matters did. They became a political attack dog, also tampering with a witness, our key witness in our case and Richard's case, putting in a CID complaint, an FBI complaint, a command complaint, Department of Justice. I mean, writing letters everywhere, uh, really doing um, his job by reporting, not withholding reports or false reporting, but reporting the truth of tampering with Richard's file, manipulating Richard's file, um, the confession of bodily harm. And what happened? He was banned from Fort Bliss. Okay, he was banned from Fort Bliss. He's an officer of the court. So that's why they banned him, because, all of these open records requests that we have, um, yeah, he could get that information from us, for us. And that's why this was a concerted effort by Leilani Hart to falsely report and get him banned. And so the breaking news is that she is a convicted criminal. She's a convicted criminal by the state of Hawaii. And we have the number here. You could look it up if you want. I'll give you the number. It's 1P19700180067. I'll repeat that, 1P19700180067. That is public information. She's a convicted criminal by the state of Hawaii, and her game is over. She has no credibility left. In and the credibility of El Paso Matters um, has just taken a a big hit as well. Because why didn't they vet her? If you're going after an officer of the court who is a key witness in the disappearance of a missing soldier on Fort Bliss, right in your backyard, why don't you vet, very easily to do, your the false report that you're getting without any text messages to say, oh, guess what just happened? Or an El Paso police report? There's no El Paso police report. Um, why didn't they do a little bit of investigative journalism? I thought that Miss Kacherga had awards for that. Why didn't she do that in this case? And, that's a huge, huge question. And then, of course, why didn't Thomas Kane do his due diligence as the chief of security of Fort Bliss, as the director of emergency services? Why didn't he do a background check on Leilani Hart when Leilani Hart is claiming to control what's going on in the CID? And then let's look at Park University. Why didn't Park University do their due diligence when Leilani Hart is making these false complaints? Why didn't Anna Whitehead contact the command, contact Thomas Kane? I mean, Thomas Kane is her subordinate, right? Because she is his boss at Park University. And why didn't she contact him and say, look, we did some background on Leilani Hart. She's causing a lot of trouble with our teachers, with our professors, making these false accusations, even to our director, to our regional director, even causing trouble with our regional director. And Thomas Kane, being the law enforcer he is, he should have done a background check on her. And he should have then told General Eisenhower, look, she is not credible. She is a convicted criminal. She's an absolute convicted criminal. And she's not just a convicted criminal for anything. She is a convicted criminal for filing false reports. Okay? To the law enforcement authorities. So for false reporting to law enforcement authorities, she pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty and she was convicted. Okay? So now that means that Major General Eisenhower was not briefed properly. He was let down by his DES, by his chief of security of Fort Bliss. He was also let down by Anna Whitehead of Park University, where numerous reports were made that were false reports, and there's no background check. There was no reporting to do a background check. And so when, why is this a secret that the key witness in Richard Halliday's case is banned from accessing Fort Bliss, and he's an officer of the court, that he could get answers easily, right, to solve this case, and he's banned, and he is unjustly banned and not even notified and doesn't even have a packet. And now the Leilani Hart that went to El Paso Matters, that went to Miss Kacherga to put these false claims against um, the witness, to tamper with the witness, to obstruct justice, right? To delay and obstruct justice, like I said yesterday. Why wasn't that vetted? Why wasn't that, Major General Eisenhower should be pretty upset. He should be pretty upset. And so, you've got a convicted criminal that Miss Kucherga made credible, that Thomas Kane made credible, that Park University made credible, that all obstructed justice in our son's case, committing more crimes, and not doing service to the commanding general of Fort Bliss, not doing any service to the commanding general of Fort Bliss. Now, that is putting every soldier at risk. That is an offense and a crime against every one of our volunteer service members on Fort Bliss. Okay? Because if the general can't do his job, then every last one of our service members on Fort Bliss is put in danger and put in risk, at risk. And so you had in 2020 a rogue leadership, and Thomas Kane was part of that. He was part of that. He gave those girls the passes. He provided the passes. He's in the news providing passes, right? So that is huge, huge news, because if you've been frustrated with this case because we can't get answers, now you know why. Now you know why we can't get answers. Because there is obstruction, with even our key witness. That was, remember, we put in a criminal complaint against Special Agent Marlon Soto, because he sanitized Richard's file from any mention of the CID, FBI, Department of Justice command complaints that our key witness put in his official office capacity. So, yeah, that's really criminal. So there's been a lot of obstruction, and people that know the law better can, give me some tips on what all the laws were broken on this one, because there's a lot. And I hope that Major General Eisenhower, now you can really write Major General Eisenhower and say, look, she's a convicted criminal for false reporting to authorities. Okay, so that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is her CID FBI accepted notarized criminal complaint affidavit. Okay? Because that puts all of that in question. If she's a criminal, a convicted criminal for false reporting, that puts that affidavit in question. But I'm not the chief investigator for Leilani Hart. I'm the chief investigator, well, Team 5 Richard Halliday is. We are the chief investigator for Richard Halliday. And that affidavit, be it true or false, it's an arrestable document. She needs to be arrested, or Dallas needs to be arrested, or James needs to be arrested, and maybe they have been arrested. Somebody needs to be arrested for what went on in that affidavit. But That is for the authorities to do. The point of that notarized CID FBI accepted criminal complaint confession affidavit is that it was part of Richard's file. It's part of Richard's file. It's part of his case. And that, be it true or false or whatever, what it does is it puts the Hart family right in the middle, in the center of our son's case. Why? Why are they involved in our son's case? And what do they not, what are they trying to hide because of the tampering with a key witness in this case to delay or obstruct information from our son's case from getting out there. Okay, that's the main point that I've been trying, because that criminal complaint affidavit, confession, whatever, that's not my words. Those are Leilani's, and it's pretty vile and vulgar, right? And and there's a lot of information in there that begs questioning, right? And why hasn't it been? Why hasn't it been questioned? And how, the CID and the FBI accepted that information. And how do these attorneys, and this is another breaking news. Another breaking news is our Team Find Richard Halliday research has uh, learned that Christopher Michael Meisner, that's name has come up in all of this, was disbarred. So he was from what I'm learning, so Christopher, Mr. Meisner, if you're listening, we have been told that you've been disbarred. So, the LinkedIn has it that he is the general attorney for Customs and Border Protectors. So, what is it here? You know, and that the connection is with Combined Veterans Association, with Leilani Hart, um, and James Hart in that. And so, what's all going on here? So I did a TikTok to explain how we came up with these names, going through Corinne Adeline West, through her daughter Deborah Sarah West, um, and others that I'm not going to mention. Um, of course, Leilani Hart, through El Paso Matters, through Miss Kacherga, through the mention of Combined Veterans Association, through Poche, which, made us question about the VA. And then we found out, you know, um, James is in the VA, and then we have all these documents coming in, and it seems that he has friends with benefits or bosses with benefits um, in the VA, and that Lisa Lennon Johnson, who still hasn't contacted us, was the point of contact for Richard's case. And if he has benefits with her, and she is the point of contact with Richard's case, that is conflict of interest, right? That's that is also tampering with this case when you have this conflict of interest. So we're waiting to hear from her, um, but that's not good. And also, I have to take a deep breath. I, can you imagine what we're going through with all this? I have to take a deep breath right now because we just learned that Leilani Hart is a convicted criminal, not for just anything, but for giving false reports, that she had no credibility. And I'm sure that El Paso Matters could have learned that or did learn that or whatever very quickly. This is so bad. Why are they hell bent on making criminal, convicted criminals credible, and credible people, honest with no records at all, servants of our society, of our community, of our system, and to, discredit them, retaliate against them? Why is El Paso Matters hell bent on doing that? Why is the command hell bent on doing that? Why is the JAG hell bent on doing that? Why is um, the chief of security hell bent on doing that? Why uh, didn't Park University have his six? That, you know, what is going on in Richard's case that we have to repeat Jay Pollin's words? Is Richard's life worth more than mine? Because let me tell you, Jay Pollin is top, top. This is the tip of the iceberg, and uh, Leilani Hart top, and really for this criminality, really, um, obstruction really starts with her. Manipulation, obstructing really is with her. There's others. There's a lot of others, but she's a big part of it, and she seems to be pretty close. I don't want to say names, but you're going to be shocked when all these names come out. You're going to be shocked. Uh, there are just some things that I'm not at liberty to say. But I will tell you this. We are at the tip of the iceberg here. Maybe we're coming down a little bit, but there is so much more that I have to take a breath and I have to think, oh my gosh, this is just pouring out. It's like the dam is breaking and it's just pouring out, and that dam is going to break, and we're going to find out what happened to Richard. But it is just leaking fast now. And so if you're part of this case, you should contact us. And I got in touch with a friend of Leilani's today. I had to reach out. I was heard about her, and I've been reaching out to several people just to say, hey, look out after yourself, because what we're learning, it's Leilani's up to no good. And if she's going to go to these levels with help of friends to obstruct the case of a missing soldier, then she's really up to no good. Okay, another thing I wanted to talk about, and that's big news. I don't know how I should have done that last, um, but I wanted to talk about Richard's promotions, because I wanted to just thank. Let me see. Let's see if I can bring it up. Amber Camo Queen. I wanted to thank her. And this is exactly our thinking. And I'm so glad that she said what she did. And I wanted to post it, because it also shows obstruction of justice again. So she writes this. I get what people might be saying about dead folks getting utility bills or, oh, let me give you some background. Richard's now, so Rob is always working behind the scenes, always working behind the scenes. And one of the things that he did was to get the archives, to get Richard's file. And um, in the file, it was really curious because they had sanitized Richard's file from the retaliation. And lo and behold, without us knowing, just by getting the archive, if we wouldn't have requested the archive, we would never know this. Richard was promoted twice, once in December in 2022 and once in April 2023. And we went, what? They promoted him? That's weird. That's weird. And the reason why it was so weird is because of what we've been living through for the last 3 years. It was so strange to us that they would do anything to the positive side for Richard. Anything. We can't even pay his bills. They haven't even helped us out with paying his bills, which he doesn't have much. But we can't even stop um, that reading program. Uh, it's just been one roadblock after the other, never ever feeling like we can accomplish anything, which is a psyop, right? It's a psyop. And so we just thought, okay, whatever, and we're just going to do what we can. And so here we find out that Richard is promoted twice. Nobody contacted us, nobody said anything to us. And so that was really a shock. And I've put that out there also because I have information about Richard's series of designations. And I got this information through Intel, and I asked the command, I said, where's the list of Richard's designations? Um, because it should be simple, right? I mean, it should be very simple to give us, through this case, through this 3 years, Richard's list um, of designations, because we're getting from Interpol, from the autopsies, that Richard is died while missing, deceased, homicide, back to AWOL, deserter, back to homicide, back to died while missing. That he has all of this chaos when it comes to his designation. And we even have the dates for him. We have the dates, we have the whole timeline. So we wanted to, that's an easy fix. Why can't the military give us um, his timeline of the changes of his designation throughout this investigation, right? And we haven't been able to get it. They won't even give us that. So this archive is is kind of strange, because here he is in cold case. We don't know truly what his designation is. We think it's deceased. Okay, at this time we think it's deceased. And so, may in the military does have a history of promoting deceased service members, but Richard was promoted not once but twice, and 4 months apart. So let's read Amber Camo Queen's statement. I think here, let me see if I can put it on. Yeah, there it is. Bring this up a little. I think it's really worth the read here. I get what people might be saying about dead folks getting utility bills or stimulus checks, things like that. I really do. My ex-father-in-law has to repay the VA hospital system because they didn't adjust the payment after my ex-husband's mom died, despite having her death certificate and everything for years. But that's irrelevant to how Army promotions are conducted, including posthumous promotions. Private Gregory Wendell Morales and PFC Vanessa Guillen got promoted after remains were recovered, and they were officially dead, not absentee soldiers. So they each earned one rank and only after the recovery of remains and their positive identification and legal change from AWOL to or deserter to dead or deceased. She says dead. Okay. Richard isn't exactly dead as far as the Army is concerned, that we know of, right? Because they won't give it to us in order to earn one rank posthumously. So, how the TF does he earn two, according to his own leadership at Fort Bliss? Um, let's see if I can get this up. Oh, let's see. At Fort Bliss, he is a crap soldier, they said. Not, well, that's not what Pollen said, but Pollen is not credible. So, anyway, um, he's a crap soldier who drinks underage and has some sketchy romantic partners and intentionally deserted his army post. That is who his COC said he was. Yet that is who they promoted twice. Well, that's fine then. Explain the reason for the promotions because um, it's not posthumous when you can't tell me he's murdered or just running around being a brat with legal certainty. If this is just posthumous promotions, it would be a single rank for a dead soldier whose beneficiary already got full payout. At the moment, Patricia Halliday is owed an explanation for the two promotions, or about 400 grand if it's literally posthumous promotions. It's very small writing. It's not remotely plausible to think the Army was doing normal promotions, just didn't realize they got a dead or missing soldier included, because no way in hell, short of something heroic beyond words, is that even a normal timetable for promotions. Thank you. Thank you, Amber. That was so great. Thank you. Um, I couldn't have said it better. You said it great. I had to read it. So I just want to say thank you so much, because we are due an explanation on that. How did that happen? And we've asked, how did that happen? And, if our list of many designations that Richard got because of the odd, and it's really, uh, how does it happen that the dates on the autopsies correspond to the change of designations? How does that happen? Right? Um, the timeline is just about perfect. I mean, I can't even tell you any ask any questions about the timeline because it's just that perfect. But I don't want to say 100% because it hasn't been confirmed by the command. It hasn't been confirmed. We haven't gotten the courtesy of a official letter, right? No. Um, we have a obstructed justice, a botched case, and that's why we're asking Major General Eisenhower to first and foremost lift the ban on our key witness so that we can access the files that we need to answer all the questions that we have that they have been stonewalling us with. absolutely stonewalling us. So I hope that makes sense. Um, I hope that makes sense. So that is, I know everyone's been busy watching the presidential debates. Maybe not. Maybe nobody wants to watch them. But um, so that was three big pieces of news today. That the big one, the really big one, that puts um, a lot of people in trouble, I think, is that Leilani Hart. It's confirmed she's a convicted criminal. Okay? And that's why they needed to be on top of this, and they weren't. And that's why people get hurt. That's why people get raped. And that's why they die when they're whistleblowers. I think about Asia Graham. Um, she should be alive and well right now. And who knows how many of those young girls that they brought in under Jerry Jackovitz, under Clem Coward, Major General Clem Coward, and under Thomas Kane that were did not have that great of a time at the party. Let's just say that. And why are we, who know, who knows? The 14-year-old girl that was living in the barracks, that was being pimped out many times a night. Um, you know, I can't even imagine. That was under Thomas Kane. What are we running? What is American taxpayers paying for? That's why I'm saying we have to turn off the spigot. We have to turn off the monies. All of this could not happen without the monies. Now, for those that, are like, wait a minute, I need my job. I need my job. We still need a military, but we've got to retrench. We absolutely need to retrench. And because even the civilians are getting hurt, are getting burnt out, are having problems. Um, so, we absolutely, there's a lot of good things out there for people, and we need to remember that. And this ain't that. And J. Paul, this ain't that. The good things out there, this ain't that. Fort Bliss is a mess. They are working and operating outside of the law, and they are making the likes of Leilani. And I'm not saying, maybe she paid her dues or whatever, but I'm saying that we were not given that information by Media Matters that she was a convicted criminal. Oh, by the way, this convicted criminal who is convicted for giving false statements to authorities is trying to witness tamper in Richard Halliday's case. That would have been more accurate from Miss Kachurga and El Paso Matters and KTIP. Okay, that would have been more accurate. So, let's see if General Eisenhower will do the right thing. How can he use someone that is not credible, that has put in a confession and notarized it to the CID and had that approved by the CID, by the FBI, okay? How can he, to somebody that has, because that confession is admitting to crime, and someone that you have to really vet, and every word you have to really vet, So everything in that criminal complaint needs to be carefully investigated, and there needs to be arrests. And, instead of obstructing justice in Richard Halliday's case, why don't they try to find out what happened in the Hart family? That's what they should be doing. And not just, from Soto's special agent CID Soto, who we have a criminal complaint in that likes to sanitize Richard's file of key witnesses, that's calling up James and saying, hey, because James told me this. James told me this. Hey, you've been cleared. You've been cleared. When does CID call you and say you've been cleared? Something's not right here. So, thank you so much. Y'all answer some questions here. I was doing some fast walking, so I'm still like fat, in that fast mode. Fast mode here. Anicia, thank you so much. Um, Patty, thank you. Thank you for seeing all my moods every day. You're in my thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much, Patty. Thank you. Danielle, thank you. Praying that they would bring Richard Halliday home. Enough is enough. Yes. Kathleen, thank you. And Kathleen, absolutely. Thank you for the message about Chagra, because that is huge. That is really, really, really big. And I don't think that many people in El Paso understand the weight of that arrest and the domino effects, the signaling that gives. It's big. It's really, really big. Um, Thank you so much. And Donna, thank you so much. I love you. So I will be back tomorrow, God willing, and probably with more breaking news. And I'm not joking. Um, that's just how quick this information is coming in. So thank you so much. Please keep praying, and we love you.